Hello and welcome back to my channel, Happening Horror. It's me, your girl Heather, and in this episode I'm going to talk about the new 2022 horror film X that was just released this year in March. Let's waste no more time and let's get to it. As moviegoers, we go into a movie theater with high expectations for a lot of film, and when we do that and the film is bad, we are severely let down. I was super hyped for this film and I went in with high expectations, and I was kind of disappointed with a lot of what was in it, especially considering the company that produced it, A24, has produced quality horror films like Midsommar and also Hereditary, two phenomenal films. So I want to talk about what I think could have been done better in this film and what I absolutely did not like. And then after I do that, I want to know what you think with your comments down below, and we'll start from there. First things first, I really do enjoy Ti West as a director. He directed movies like VHS and The House of the Devil and The ABCs of Death. All great horror films, all very well done. So when this movie came out and I watched it, I was a little disappointed. There's going to be spoilers because I'm going to talk about a couple of the scenes. So if you haven't watched the movie yet, I'm sorry, but I have to talk about it, and I got to get it off my chest why some of these scenes and the plot were so irritating. The movie wastes no time in showing how graphic it is going to be. The opening scene of the film, we see two detectives in what is Texas, pulling up to this farmhouse. There's just bodies everywhere. They're covered with sheets. There is blood all over the place. So it starts off strong and in your face. The blood that we see in the opening of the film looks pretty realistic, which I did enjoy. It was an interesting start to see a movie kind of just start right off with the aftermath, which isn't uncommon, but we don't see it a whole lot. So I did enjoy that. I also did enjoy the time era it was set in 1979, hence why I'm kind of rocking this 70s look for y'all. I do really enjoy that, and the editing that was done in post-production kind of gave the hue of a 1970s film for this movie, which I did really enjoy. I thought it was a great decision made by Ti West, the director. Real quick, I want to cover the topic of the characters and their development throughout the film. It lacked. For me, it lacked a lot because I don't feel they were properly introduced to us as individuals. Rather, we just see them getting in a van and just going out to a location to film an adult film, which is fine if that's what you're going for, but for moviegoers and for fans of horror film especially, we want to know who our characters are. We want to have some type of relationship with them, and I don't feel that I had enough time to form a relationship with any of the characters, form any kind of emotional attachment, you could say, like we do in other films, whether it's horror or even like a superhero movie. So that was a big disappointment for me, considering that this is a Ti West film and it's produced by A24, where other films he has done and other films that A24 has done, we get to know our characters pretty well. So I'm a little disappointed with you guys. Come on, this could have been so much better. The characters could have been so well developed, and you missed a chance to do that, which I really think took away from the already lackluster plot, which is what I'm going to talk about next, because the plot was also upsetting. A group of young people are going to a remote location at a farm to film an adult movie. Okay, cool. That's a cool concept. Not really done all the time. Let's see how it goes. We meet our characters that own the farm, Howard and Pearl. Right off the bat, they're a little odd, which, no surprise, this is a horror film. It's a slasher. You're out in the middle of nowhere. These characters are going to be weird. The only kind of solid plot I saw through the film was the fact that they were there to film an adult movie. Okay, and I said there's going to be spoilers in this film, so I'm just going to go ahead and say this now. Pearl and Howard's development in the film and several of their scenes, what are you doing? What is happening? Because we find out that it's not actually, later on, we find out that it's not actually Pearl doing a majority of the killing, it's her husband Howard. Yes, Pearl does kill several people, which I will get to in a second, but we don't learn why Pearl is the way she is. Why is she so gung-ho for killing these young people? Why is she so after our lead character? Why? And they don't really tell us why. All we know is that we have two crazy old people. Pearl, the old lady, she obviously has some issues, which seems like maybe it might be from her relationship, because we do notice that she kind of feels rejected from her husband in an adult manner, for those of you who are watching and know what I'm saying. So maybe that's a reason why. It's unclear in the plot why Pearl is like that. So that was one thing that really frustrated me, that I feel like our director could have done better with. And I don't want to talk about the ending yet, so let me move on to the things I do like before I continue just to, in my own opinion, kind of rip apart this film. One of my favorite things about the film is the composer they got to do the music for it, Tyler Bates. Tyler Bates is a great and already really well-known composer for movies. You might know his work if you watch movies like John Wick, which he has done all the music for all 4 films. Yes, all 4. He also did movies like Slither and Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, 300. This guy has a major repertoire of films behind him. So seeing his name on this film did give me high hopes, but after watching it, I wasn't let down by him. I was let down by the director, quite a bit. But Tyler Bates did deliver exactly what I expected him to. He knew exactly where to place silence in the film. His kind of traditional, kind of heartbeat, tense music that he put through a lot of the scenes made me physically uncomfortable. And this is a spoiler, like I said, because this film is new. If you haven't watched it, I'm sorry. There is a pretty graphic scene midway through the movie with one of our leads where the couple engage in activities on a bed above her. And it kind of has this, the music has this uncomfortable, sinister, romantic feel to it. But the entire time I was watching that scene, I was so uncomfortable. It was very cringeworthy. Not because of the scene itself, but because of the music that went with the scene. They went together and just made, for lack of a better word, because the scene was not beautiful, a beautiful scene. So thank you, Tyler Bates, for making a great soundtrack for this film. And since they were doing an adult film in this movie, you have to have the classic 1970s baby making music, you can call it, in it. And Tyler Bates delivered right away. Because when I do these videos for you guys, I take notes. And one of my notes right here says, 70s baby making music totally on point. Occasional creepy music is a nice addition to the film as well. The baby making music was so good. So good. And I actually want to talk about those scenes where that music takes place. So let's go from here to there right now. The bigger actors in it, like Mia Goth and Brittany Snow. Mia Goth actually plays our lead, our victim, you could say. But before I talk about that, I want to talk about the baby making music that I had just previously talked about that Tyler Bates provided, and the scenes that were in the movie. There are some very sexually graphic scenes in here. Could this movie received an NC-17 rating? Yes. I believe it kind of should have, even though we didn't see extremely graphic things. I think an R rating was a little too light for this film. But because of a lot of stipulations with movie theaters and just a myriad of other things, they don't want to show anything rated at an NC-17. Which is why I think this just got an R rating. The baby making music for the adult film scenes that were in the movie, very well done. Those scenes were very well choreographed. They weren't like a typical cheesy horror movie kind of love making scene, which I was happy with. And Brittany Snow does a wonderful job in those scenes. And just throughout the entire film, she does a great job. And she definitely takes away from kind of her other characters like Chloe in Pitch Perfect. Yes, that's right. Brittany Snow was in Pitch Perfect. So you go ahead and watch this film, and then you watch little Brittany Snow play an innocent character in that one, and tell me how you feel down in the comments below. So one of my favorite characters in the movie actually gets killed off relatively early in the film. And when I say early in the film, you're like 35 minutes, 40 minutes into this film before any actual deaths happen. I'll talk about that in a second, but I want to talk about RJ's death. RJ is played by Owen Campbell, great actor, but his death, the reason is why it's my favorite, because it was kind of unsuspecting, but also you kind of knew it was going to happen. He gets freaked out after watching his girlfriend film an adult scene in the movie he is filming. He takes a shower, he gets freaked out, decides he's done with this, he wants to leave, hops in the truck to get out of there. Well, our character, Pearl, the kind of creepy old lady who lives at the farm, who is just, is just standing in the middle of the driveway. He gets out to assist her and make sure she's okay because she is standing in the nude at night by herself. Husband is nowhere around her. So RJ, being the kind of lovable character that you don't want to die in a horror film, just gets it. He's done. He does get stabbed, obviously. He gets stabbed multiple times. They make it very graphic. Some of it was a little unrealistic, but you know, this is a horror movie. It's a Hollywood slasher. Some of them are going to be really unrealistic. The cherry on top for this scene, and the reason why it's one of my favorites, is because Don't Fear the Reaper was playing. And I feel like this song was well placed. And I also appreciate that they picked a song that was made prior to when the film was set in 1979. Don't Fear the Reaper was released in 1976. But when you watch the film, you'll see what I mean when I say I believe it was well placed. I was really sad to see RJ go. He was definitely an innocent character in this. So I'm sorry, RJ, that you're dead. So I talked about my favorite death in the film because for me it was a little unpredictable. The death that kind of made me laugh a little bit was actually the character of Wayne, played by Martin Henderson. So Martin Henderson's character, Wayne, is the director of the adult film being made inside the movie. He goes out looking for his girlfriend and also for RJ, when he notices RJ is not there. He wanders into a barn where they have shot a scene before. Of course, there's a cow in there. It's a barn. It's got hay. It's got hazards. He's walking barefoot in his tidy whities, looking for RJ. He happens to step directly on just a convenient piece of wood with just a nail right out of it. So I was like, ooh, ouch. That definitely hurts. Kind of gives you the oof when you see it happen. Of course, being a horror movie, instead of leaving it in to leave pressure on the wound, immediately takes it out. He does notice something odd happening outside the barn. And we just happen to kind of catch a glimpse of Pearl. Great old Pearl. Just being a creep. Well, his death was creative and it also kind of made me laugh. In the barn door, where he's going to look for his friend, he walks to the edge of the barn after he hears a noise and sees some shadows. There are 3 holes right there, and he's looking through each hole, all well lit, and then all of a sudden, shadows. And I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh, it's gonna happen. He's just gonna go, lo and behold, straight into the eye, just stabbed right through the brain, through the holes. I was like, that's great, but also kind of funny. It was kind of for me, it was a comedic relief death, which is odd, but you know, I'm a horror movie fan. This is a horror channel. We can laugh at silly deaths, right? And then the cherry on top for that, yes, there was another cherry on top of this for me, is when good old Pearl makes her way into the barn just completely in the nude yet again. I'm sorry, not in the nude. She did have a nightgown on, just completely in her nightgown. Just goes over and just takes a pitchfork and just kind of pokes him, make sure he's dead, which is the equivalent of a kid poking something with a stick. And then she's like, okay, yeah, he's dead, and just takes a pitchfork and just puts hay on him, over him, and just leaves. Because these are my favorite parts of the film. Moving on to the end of the film, we see Mia Goth's character, Maxine. She's our victim, you could say. You'll just have to watch the movie, even though I'm giving away a lot of things. She is kind of our hero in this instance. And this is where the movie started to make me really mad. The ending sequence for this film sucked. I'm just gonna say it sucked. For me, sucked. Trash. And if you disagree with me, you can put it down in the comments. That's totally cool. This is just my opinion of this film. The ending sucked. It did. It was so lackluster. So lackluster. Maxine gets Lorraine out of the basement. Here comes the other 2. They're trying to escape. Here's Pearl and there's Howard. We can hear them coming. Lorraine freaks out, runs out the door. She gets blasted with a shotgun. Just done. She's peppered. Okay. You kind of expect that happening when you kind of hear the evil characters kind of walking up. And then we're left with Maxine. She has a gun. She actually scares Howard, the old man, so much she actually ends up having a heart attack and dying. So she kind of inadvertently kills him. And then she tries to kill Pearl. She has a gun, she goes to fire. Of course, there's a monologue about her talking to Pearl, blah, blah, blah. Dumb. She goes to fire at Pearl, doesn't work. Pearl picks up the shotgun, fires, misses her. She's so old, she gets flown out the front door. And it was, to me, it was very exaggerated. It was a very exaggerated shot. She goes out there, Pearl's on the ground. Okay, she's dead. Maxine is just casually walking out, gets in the truck. She hears the old lady yelling at her, calling her all these names, seeing her saying, oh, I saw you film. I saw what you were doing in the barn, you I can't say it because YouTube. I saw what you were doing in the barn, and she just runs her head right over, and then runs it over, obliterates the skull, and then drives off. And Maxine is kind of she likes, I can't say it. She's just doing that while driving away. And she drives off the farm and into the sunset, or sunrise, whatever you want to call it, which would be sunrise. She just drives into the sunrise like nothing happened. And that's how the movie ends. Old lady gets run over. Maxine gets in the car. Well, the truck gets in the truck, drives away, and that's it. Nothing. So that's one of the reasons this film. So when doing my research for my fun facts for you all, because who am I without doing a fun fact in my video? The movie was actually filmed in New Zealand in the Northern Islands of the country, which is pretty cool, not uncommon. Filming there is a little cheaper, but the film is supposed to take place in Texas. And if you haven't already, make sure you follow me on Instagram, where I post more horror-related content. And also subscribe and ring the bell so you get notified when I post new videos every week. And next week's video is actually going to be kind of a triple feature. I'm going to be talking about It, Chapter 1 and 2, and comparing it to the 1980 classic miniseries with the one and only Tim Curry. Thank you yet again for joining me here on Happening Horror with me, Heather. Remember to stay safe and to stay spooky.